Hey guys, I'm going to keep this intro short because this is going to be a long video. Pixonic have just dropped the new rebalance on the test server and oh my god, it might be the biggest we have ever seen. Okay guys, so here we go. I'm not going to lie, this is a massive list as it usually is these days. I'm also going to say this is on the test server, so it's all subject to change. But based on things that have happened in the past, I don't think any of this is going to change. This is most likely what we're going to see in the update, so make sure to prepare accordingly because a lot of this stuff is getting nerfed. So, kicking it off with the ducks, the drones are getting a 50% damage nerf, but they're increasing the accuracy, which is one of the weaknesses of the ducks drones. So, it's basically just going to stop those drones from literally annihilating everything. And yeah, so the movement bonus from the ability is getting halved. Well, it's going from 40% to 20%. So a 50% damage nerf is absolutely crazy. The last time we saw one of those was with the damper and tamer weapons, and that is for the ducks drone. So that is going to be a lot different next update. Moving on to the condor. Let's go. It's getting nerfed. So the thing is, it's kind of getting nerfed and also buffed. Well, the ability is getting a buff from 12 seconds to 14 seconds. The Mark III bonus to damage against Titans is getting buffed, so this is going to try and increase, it's going to try and make people upgrade it to Mark III, which I never did, to be honest. Reduce the amount of both green and grey durability repaired by losing one shield while the ability is active, 60% to 25%. So that is basically going to nerf how much it can heal in flight, which is very good. The built-in weapon damage is getting nerfed to 40%, which is quite a considerable amount, to be honest. And the movement speed in flight is going from 50 to 35. On top of all that, we are getting a 20% nerf to the durability. Let's go. Get this thing out of the skies. It sucks. Okay. The Baglior is getting a 15% durability buff, so that is good news. And the amount of time you have to teleport back to your ability is now not 30 seconds, it's now 20 seconds. So about a third of it is getting reduced, so I reckon the Baglior, this might end up being a buff in disguise, but we'll see. The Raptor's getting some changes as well. We have the increased Comet Splash duration from 5 to 7 seconds. They're giving it 15% more health, but they're nerfing its Reflector, so it's going to be pretty weak, I think, after that. And yeah, that is going to be pretty interesting. And they've reduced the jump range and height. I have a bad feeling that that is going to be quite considerable, so we're going to have to see what that's actually like on the test server. But yeah, crazy changes there for the Raptor. The Pathfinder's getting nerfed, which, does it really need it? Probably not. So, the track cooldown is now 10 seconds, so that's kind of a buff. But it's getting a quarter of its health is just going to be gone. So, that's kind of unjust. I don't think we really needed to nerf this thing. It was pretty weak anyway. And the reduced movement speed is going down 3 points there. So, kind of annoying for the Pathfinder. I don't really think it needs a nerf, but I guess Pixonic have realized that too many people have them. So, that's going to be probably getting nerfed next update. The Nemesis is getting buffed. We have they're increasing the duration of the Absorber of Retribution. The built-in weapon damage is getting increased, and the limit of bonus damage that can be provided from the Absorber. So, all around some buffs for the Nemesis. I've never run it, so I don't think this will affect me at all. But if you run the Nemesis, there's some good news in this rebalance for you. The Raven is getting buffed. It's getting increased durability, and it's also getting 2 seconds knocked off the cooldown, so that's nice. I don't really think it's going to do much, but they kind of put these things in to make the overall update not seem that bad. The Spectre's getting increased movement speed and also a reduced cooldown, so once again, I don't think that's really going to do anything. The Tear is getting increased physical shield durability and increased repairs. The Raker's getting a small durability buff and a 1 second cooldown reduction for the Glance ability. Don't really know why they're doing this, but I mean, we'll take it, I guess. And the Pathfinder's getting a 5% speed bonus in its ability. Not Pathfinder, Pursuer. So I don't really think that's going to be able to do a lot, but that is just something else they've added. The HE is getting more Antile shield capacity and increased durability. I wonder if they're doing this because of the ultimate one in this update that we have now. The Stride is getting a reduced dash cooldown by 1 second, kind of pointless, so I don't really know why they're going to do that. The Bulgasari, this is the regular one, is getting increased physical shield durability, 10%, and increased durability. So this should make it more tanky, although once again, I don't think this is going to really do anything. If they'd have made the shield invincible like the ultimate one, it might have been usable again, but obviously they're not going to do that. So the Nether is getting an increased damage bonus from the Quake ability. I didn't even know it had a damage bonus from that, so I guess it did need this. And it's also getting a speed buff. To be honest, I think they'd be better off just putting the reflector back to what it was, because this thing is absolutely trash these days. It is crazy how fast it dies. Okay, now moving on to Titans. Guys, look at this. The Mauler, while it seems like it's getting buffed with increased durability and increased movement speed, it is getting 50 defense points knocked off it when it's maxed out. And the hook effect, which is the thing that death marks the enemy, that is getting reduced by 4 seconds. And also, yeah, the incoming damage thing. The resistance to damage over time damage is getting nerfed, so this is literally going to be like exactly what happened to the Ochikochi. So I can't lie, we all saw it coming. Mine's already gone out on my hanger because I knew this was going to happen. Yes, there's no nerfs for the Devourer yet, so I'm safe. So if you're a low spender, maybe that's the thing to go for. Just if you're a free-to-play, stick with the Luchador if you have it, because this isn't on the list. The Berserker is getting a reduced cooldown, which is going to make this extremely annoying. The built-in weapon is getting a 50% damage buff. Oh my god, it's already overpowered, so that's going to make it broken. And yeah, it's getting a 35% nerf to the health. And the fatigue effect is getting nerfed as well. So that's kind of interesting. I still think that increased built-in weapon damage is going to be overpowered. And that coupled with the jump back is going to make it extremely strong. So I'm not really sure whether that's a buff or a nerf, but there we go. The Nodens is getting a series of small buffs to do with the healing to itself and allies, which I don't really think is going to do anything. And the disposal ability is now at a 13-second cooldown. I swear, once upon a time, this was like 22 seconds. So this has been going down for years now. It is crazy. Okay, the Arth is getting a 15% health buff and a shield buff, and also it's getting increased defense points. I don't really see what the basis of these changes are, like what data have they collected to see that it needs this, but I guess they're doing something because they've decided to make this change. The Rook is getting a buff as well to the castling ability. The Power Field ability, which throws you back during castling, is getting a 12% damage buff. It's getting increased durability for all the physical shields, except for 2 on the back side, which I don't really get why they're doing that. Seems kind of weird. And you now get 5,000 more health repaired every time one of the shields get repaired. So that's interesting. I don't know how this is going to affect the Rook, but I guess we'll see in the future. Now, the Newton's getting a buff, which is kind of crazy. More movement speed and 10% built-in damage, so that's kind of interesting. The Ether is getting 2 seconds more in flight and 7% increased durability. I don't think this is going to do a lot, so because the Ether just dies so fast nowadays, I don't think 7% is enough to make a big difference. The Sirius is also getting buffed, so the turret is getting a 15% damage buff, which is actually mad, because this thing's pretty strong anyway. It's getting a 9% durability buff, but I think the Sirius would be way better if they gave it passive grade durability healing just all the time, because as a Titan, I think it should get that. Yeah, they're buffing the turret as well, but that's probably still won't be enough. This thing never has been meta, and I still think it's going to be relatively weak after these changes. Now, we're on to the robot weapons. So look at this. The Smite and Discipline are getting a 10% damage buff and an increased splash radius, which is interesting. The Blast Charge effect is getting nerfed. I'm not going to lie, I didn't even realize they had Blast Charge. But the reload is going from 4 to 8 seconds, which I think is similar to the Shenlu's weapons, because I think they went from 4 to 8 seconds. So that's kind of crazy. This is like less of a nerf, more of a changing of the role of what the weapon can do, so that's interesting. The Howler, Screamer, and Growler are getting an increased burst interval. So this is getting doubled, which is going to be big, I think. They're already kind of annoying, the reload. I don't run any in my hangar because I just don't really like the way the weapons perform. Yes, they're crazy strong, but I don't like the playstyle. I think this is going to make them worse, obviously, and once again, just enforcing how bad the playstyle is, in my opinion. But yeah, these are going to, obviously, I think they'll probably get a further nerf as well. I'd probably bet that they'll get a damage nerf as well, but we haven't seen anything like that so far for these weapons in this upcoming rebalance. Now, the Aramis, Porthos, and Athos are getting nerfed. The amount of damage returned... Oh, wait, no, this is a buff. Getting returned as repairs is going up 10%, but they're getting a 30% damage nerf, which is absolutely mad. These aren't even that strong anymore. I think maybe 10 or 15% at the most would have suited these, but 30%, oh my god. I think that's just primarily because everyone has these now, and Pixonic want people to move on to newer weapons. I think that's the main reason for this nerf, because, yeah, they're just going to be awful after this. This is an interesting one, though. The Hurricane and June. First, it looks bad, an increased damage of 20%, but the range is getting almost split in half. Thank God for that. This is going to make lower leagues a little bit more bearable, because the June campers aren't going to be able to just camp on you from spawn. So I think this is a good change. Not so much for the Aramis, Porthos, and Athos. That is going to suck if you run those. So I would think about changing them out now just to give you more time. Or you could just make the most of it, because these are going to be very different if these changes go ahead. Okay, now this is interesting as well. The Snire, Skady, and Hell, they're getting more freeze effect and increased damage. They don't need increased damage. They're actually strong. They just need an increased reload. This is going to help my baby account, I think, because I have the Hells on the Curie. But they need to increase the reload. Like, there's no point in having all that damage if you can never fire the weapon. The Claw, Jaw, and Talon, exactly the same story. There's no point in increasing the damage when they fire so slowly. The Scald, Scorcher, and Incinerator are getting an increased damage from the bomb explosion of 6%. I don't really think that's going to do anything, to be honest. The Cudgel, Mason, Hammer are getting nerfed. The Projectile Dispersion is getting nerfed by 6%, so I'm not entirely sure that'll do anything. But it is getting increased blast accumulation, so that's going to be interesting. Actually, that might be a buff. If the Dispersion, does that not mean it just hits the target more? So that might be a buff, to be honest, and these are already pretty strong. The Xyphos, Labris, and Cestus are getting a 10% damage buff. I think they needed that from the start, because I didn't think they were really that strong. The Spear is getting a damage buff again. I'm pretty sure this is just them setting it back to what it was before they nerfed it last time, so that's interesting. That's the same one. The Fainter's getting a reduced shot interval and a 12% damage buff. Once again, the exact same story as the Hell, Skady, and Snire and all those. It just needs a better reload, and it would be usable again. That's all they need to fix. They don't need to buff the damage. Right, here we go. Titan weapons. The Anguisher and Ruiner are getting absolutely nerfed to the ground with a reduced damage. I'm going to focus on that first, because, oh my god, 40%. That is going to be crazy. That is going to be absolutely crazy. These weapons are running Champion League right now, so it is obvious why this is going to happen. Increased damage over time effect, which I don't think is going to be that good, because if you look at the bottom, the damage over time duration is getting nerfed by 6 seconds, so that's going to do nothing. And they're also changing the particle dispersion as well. It's now going to be more vertical than horizontal, I think. I don't really know. So, yeah, these are absolutely overpowered, so they needed a nerf. But yeah, I'm just interested to see how these are going to perform on the test server. I think this is going to be really interesting. The Vindicate is getting a 20% damage buff, which is insane. But the reload is literally getting more than doubled, which is insane. This build is definitely going to get the Reaper... This weapon's getting the Reaper treatment, for sure. 100%. Now, the Inferno and Pyro are getting a buff to the cooldown, so... Oh, wait, no, is that a nerf? Increase time before the weapon starts cooling off. Oh, that is bad. That is bad. So if you overheat the weapons, you now have to wait 7 seconds instead of 5. Oh my, that is bad. Is that to bring it in line with the Arbiter and Equalizer? It actually might be. I don't know. But yeah, then we also have a 10% reduced damage for these as well, which is crazy. I've just noticed I've literally been going for 15 minutes on this, which is mental. Just the amount of nerfs and buffs and stuff in this rebalance is crazy. The Tumultus and Discordia is getting an increased reload interval. I think that might be a nerf. I don't really understand that one, if I'm honest. Balava and Kiston are getting a buff, increased damage, and increased radius. And the Grom and Squall are getting a reload time buff and 12% increased damage. So that's nice, I guess. I still don't think these will see Champion League ever again, which is kind of sad, but there we go. Now, drones. This one is crazy. Wait till we get to the Seeker drone. So the Pascal is getting buffed, I think, back to normal pretty much. Although, apart from this bit, the on-kill assist bonus damage ability is replaced by a new mechanic. It will now provide a 10% damage bonus to damage as long as the robot has heavy armor plates for the Curie. What? So they're basically making it that you can only use it on the Curie. That is really not good. What? I don't know. That seems kind of weird. I kind of wish they'd expanded on that more. Oh wait, this is not getting buffed. I don't know why I said that. Reduce the amount of defense points is going from 100 to 50. That is gone. That is absolutely useless now. Oh my god, that's crazy. Oh man, and wait till we get to the Seeker drone. The max radius now is 250 meters instead of 350 meters. It's obvious this was going to get nerfed because everyone is running it on the ducks. And we're also fixing the bug that allowed Counterblind to activate every 5 seconds instead of 20. What? Wait, is that a bug? It only is meant to activate every 20 seconds? I swear I've never experienced that bug, I can't lie. What? Oh well. The Shy drone increased the amount of defense points provided by on damage done defense. So, okay. Increased bonus to movement speed. And the last stand will now activate at 80% durability instead of 35%. Oh my god, that's bad. That is really bad. So it's basically more of a first stand than a last stand, which is pretty awful. So yeah, the Shy drone is not going to be very good after this. Okay, the Eye is getting a buff to the death mark. It's going from 20 seconds cooldown to 17. And a 10% built-in weapon damage thing. So that's good. Persephone drone is getting a 100 durability per second healing buff, which is going to be useless. And the Nebula drone is getting a increased duration for the Absorber. I can't lie, this drone was meta ages ago. Everyone had it, but nobody runs it anymore, so I don't really think this is going to do anything. Now, motherships. Oh my god, yes, there's still more to this. The Avalon is getting absolutely cooked. This is really big nerfs to this. The green durability is getting a 5% nerf, and the grey durability this thing can restore is getting halved. So this is going to be way worse. Also, the amount of cleanse stack, so this protects you from rust and stuff, that is now going from 15 to 5. So they are absolutely gutting this thing. It is going to be so bad. I think I'm going to stick with the Frederick. Oh, man. It's sad to see that one go because that was so good at helping older robots do well. The Beholder's getting a 20% damage increase, so that's there as well. And to finally finish it off, the Willa O pilot, the Duck's stealth ability is halved. I called this literally yesterday in my live stream, so that is crazy. But there we go, guys. That is 19 minutes there, which is crazy, of nerfs. Oh my god. A lot of stuff in the meta is going to change, so prepare accordingly, guys. This is going to be a big one. I'm going to remind everyone, obviously, it's the test server, so it's subject to change. But as I said in the beginning, based on previous decisions made by Pixonic, this will all probably come to fruition in the game. Okay, guys, so some pretty brutal changes coming in the next rebalance. I can't wait to see this on the test server. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.